Hello, I'm Dr. K.A. Shakur, the Vice President of SEBRC. What is SEBRC? Well, first of all, it means Southeastern Buddhist Retreat Center. And this came about through the vision of Dr. David Bowl, mostly known as Lama Losan, as a place where people can come for retreat, they can come for healing, and come for education. The education would be centered around energetic medicine, energetic exercises, and Buddhist philosophy, which are tenets based on nonviolence, based on well-being, based on self-realization. Retreat would be in a place where people would be able to come in an aesthetic environment where they can relax just by being in nature. And we've been in existence this is our second year. And today we have a number of speakers that will speak to various aspects of our mission. We're so happy that you are here and so happy that you're listening to our program. And hopefully this will inspire you to find out more by going to our website, sebrc.org. So without further ado, we will be bringing forth our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here and for what hopefully you will be doing in the future for us. This is only the beginning of an organization that is not even 2 years old. And thanks to a handful of people, as Aya said earlier, we have begun to build a structure. Now, I took the job as interim president last April because our first president, Lama Losan, and our next president, Dr. Shakur, were, I felt, engaged in things that were much more important than the mere presidency. Yet you needed a president to help the organization build some structure, and that's what I hope we've done. But before I talk about that briefly, I want to address the elephant in the room. Some of you may recall last year we had a beautiful piece of property in Citra that we had hoped to be able to purchase. It had everything we wanted. Well, the owners of that property looked all over the state of Florida and parts of Texas for a place to move once they sold it to us and discovered there was no better place for them to be. And so they decided to hold on to the property and spend the rest of their retirement there for all the reasons that we wanted to buy the place. So we went back to square one. But that's okay, because as Buddhists, we're not supposed to be too attached to anything. Nothing is permanent. And so what you do is you look forward instead of backwards. Now, in your packet that you received when you checked in, you got a couple of handouts. You got a beautiful brochure. You also got a list of volunteer activities, and you got a copy of an organizational chart. Because what we've done in the fairly recent past, we started this process when I was merely on the board, and we've been working on it diligently to build a platform from which to launch the next phase of SEBRC, also known as the Southeastern Buddhist Retreat Center. Thanks to Carlo, shorten that. We don't have to say that long word. We can say SEBRC now, so that's what I'm talking about when I say that. We built some structure. We have an organization. We have spent a lot of time developing stuff that's required by the IRS for not-for-profit organizations and for the watchdog agencies that keep an eye on us. Good morning, sir. Welcome, Mayor Ward. Thank you for coming. To that end, we now have a long-term and strategic 5-year plan, which are in development, but basically a platform. We have an organizational structure you can see by that chart that was included in your packet. We have a working website, a social media presence, an online newsletter, and thanks to those of you in here who are working on those things. We have a discrete mailing list of established supporters, which we're in the process of building. We have a comprehensive, very lengthy set of bylaws. We have policies on non-discrimination, conflict of interest, and a code of ethics. We have 7 committees and detailed commissions or job descriptions for each committee and 2 task forces. We have comprehensive financial policies and procedures, an up-to-date set of books and current financial information available to anyone who wants it. Thank you to our treasurer, Carlo, for working very hard to put this together, and you probably have a copy of our financial report there. I don't have to tell you, this has taken a while to sort of put this together, and it's a labor of intense effort, and now we're very pleased to be able to say that we can meet the requirements of the IRS, and this is something that's very important for any not-for-profit. We also have membership in and recognition by GuideStar and Great Not-for-Profits, national charity watchdog agencies. When people want to donate, they go to these 2 organizations, among others, and they look up your charity to see if you are meeting the rules and regulations of the IRS and state organizations for not-for-profit organizations. We have a comprehensive list of volunteer activities for your consideration. You have a copy of those activities in your handout. Those are things that we need help in. Nancy said there's a quiet ache of yearning that occurs with many people. We're all here in this lifetime because we haven't gotten it right yet. We're working on it. Those of us in this room feel the sense of yearning to achieve the kinds of things that Aya was just talking about. To do this takes people. It takes effort. It takes time. It takes commitment. Now, if there isn't anything on that list of volunteer activities that appeals to you, fret not. We will find a place for you. There have been basically a handful of people that have been working diligently to put SEBRC together. We need more. The next phase of this organization is going to be the implementation of some pretty important programs as proof of concept. We need to be able to demonstrate to the public that we can deliver the programs and services that we say we want to deliver. To that end, today, under Dr. Shakur's tutelage, is being launched an international ad in a Buddhist publication, which offers books for sale, a portion of the proceeds which are to go to SEBRC. There are also videotapes of Lama Losang and various teachings that are available and being advertised internationally on our website. And these are in marketing what's called Lost Leaders. They're free. People can go to the website and access those videotapes, and hopefully it will encourage them to become supporters, perhaps even sustainers of SEBRC. Another thing that's planned for May, or thereabouts, is a retreat, a multi-day retreat, which offers a lot of the services and programs that we talk about. It's going to be at least 5 days, right? Over here at Celebration Point, at the hotel over there, and that's in the planning stages, and there's also discussion about having a major fundraiser attached to that particular event. These activities and more are planned for the new year, because now it's time for us to begin to launch as proof of concept all the things that we say we want to do for everyone to achieve that sense of inner peace and to satisfy that quiet yearning. What's next is, I hope that some of you here in this room who are not already involved will want to help us move into the future. There are usually a handful of people that do a lot of the work in any organization. In a not-for-profit organization, there's always turnover, just like there is in a profit sector. Having worked in both sectors for many years, I can tell you there are a lot of similarities. But in the not-for-profit sector, the kind of dedication that comes from wanting to do something for free. The compensations are many, but they are not necessarily tangible. The fact that all of you are here in this room tell me that if you're not already involved, you could become involved. And I think there are a couple of folks here that are going to be newly joining our board of directors. Jamie Swit, as you can see, is going to be a powerhouse with that passion that she has. Collie Blount, I believe, is going to be joining our board of directors. I would like everybody in the room who is a current volunteer or a past volunteer to please raise your hand. Applause to everyone. Okay, I'm not going to threaten to nail your feet to the floor for those of you who didn't raise your hands, but I'm hoping that you will fill out that form that you have with your name and address and contact information, and maybe even check off one of those things in which you are interested. If there's nothing there, just put other in the bottom. Put it face down on the desk or give it to one of us, and you will be contacted. And I want to thank everyone who's here. I'm outgoing. It's been absolutely my pleasure for the last couple of years to work with some of the most talented people that I've met in my years as a chronic volunteer. I have been energized, encouraged. I think I've been a Buddhist all my life. I just didn't know it until about 4 years ago when I met Lama Losang. I had a cardiac arrhythmia and I went in for some holistic treatment, which he provided the solution for, by the way. It was a simple change in a supplement I was taking, completely resolved the issue. And I was so intrigued and kept going back, and then all of a sudden I was hearing more and more, and I joined KCTC and became a member of the Sangha, and the rest is history. And that quiet yearning I keep bringing up is being satisfied by having been associated with this group. And I wish you all the best for the future, and thank you all very much. And I will turn this back over to Dr. Shakur. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for what you're doing. Some of my background, I had a career in nonprofit management and fundraising before being in an elected office. And part of that service was in the faith-based community. So this always has a special place in my heart. And I know that the work that you will do, the work that many of you do, I know many of you already, and I know that the work that you do has a positive benefit. You are already changing and have changed lives for the better around you in this community. You will be able to do more of that in this more organized fashion, although you also have my sympathies for dealing with all the paperwork that goes with developing such an organization. But thank you for your heart in doing this, for gathering here, for being a part of Gainesville. This is what Gainesville is. We gather together, and we don't create a lot of large corporations, a few that we're real proud of. Well, we don't do a lot of that side of things, but we do a lot of helping each other and giving each other space to be who we are. There are a lot of different kinds of folks in our community, and that's what makes this a great community. And thank you for being a part of that and for expanding out what we are about in our community. What has been on my consciousness more than anything else the last few days is not what you think it is, probably. But it is a thing that you can't avoid if you turn on any national media. It is and I'll ask your indulgence to share this with you because it's a big deal. The loss of food benefits, access to food for, in this community alone, about 12,000 of our sisters and brothers, just in Gainesville. In Greater Alachua County, we're looking at probably 30,000 of our neighbors, our sisters and brothers. You know somebody, you care about somebody. If it's not you, you care about somebody who is not going to be able to buy groceries this week. And they may be someone out in the working world, they may be retired, they may be a child, but it directly affects you because I don't claim to know a lot about Buddhism, but my understanding is that you understand the network of how we are all together in this. And we deeply are all in this particular thing together. Please, as you go about your day today and for the next while, be aware of the organizations that exist. And there's a great network of organizations that get food to people. What they need now is mostly money. So if you're connected with Bread of the Mighty or any of the other organizations that directly get food into people's hands, that is absolutely a need right now. And I know I'm talking to the right people in this room about that. So please, thank you for your indulgence and being able to talk about that for just a moment this morning. It is what I'm working on. Please keep your ears open. In the next couple of days, I'll be making some announcements about that. Unfortunately, the city and the county really aren't, as organizations, able to turn on a dime and be able to do the things that the federal and state government are washing their hands of. But there are certainly less bureaucratic organizations in our community that can turn on a dime and can get that done, but they're going to require all of us to put our shoulder to the wheel and move that wheel. So, yes, ma'am.
Mayor Ward, do you have a list of the organizations in Alachua County and Gatesville that are helping to feed people that we could broadcast to our supporters?
So the two that leap out at me the most, and I will name these two because they are sort of they're sort of backbone organizations. They're often not the ones handing out food, but they're kind of the wholesale. It's not wholesale, but that kind of back office sort of thing. The spine of the food distribution network. Catholic Charities to some degree, but primarily Bread of the Mighty Food Bank. They are not the front-facing organization so much. Sometimes they are, but they're the primary distributor, purchaser, and distributor of food for folks in need. If you see distribution events that we have in a variety of places around our community, usually the food they're distributing came through Bread of the Mighty. They have, I've been in lots of conversations with their leadership the last couple of days. They have seen in the last 60 days a doubling, almost a 100% increase in need already. And as of today, there are no SNAP benefits. So the old, what we used to call food stamps, they're just not there. The EBT cards aren't being filled. So they expect another doubling or perhaps tripling of what has already been a doubling in the last 60 days of need. So my efforts very specifically are going toward Bread of the Mighty. There are lots of good organizations. The two largest sort of backbone organizations are Bread of the Mighty and Catholic Charities. I will be putting some things out over social media in the next few days about all of that. But the quick hit is if you can make donations to those organizations, that is immediately helpful. And it's really not my job to go make asks on their behalf, but that's what I'm doing right now and for the next several days, weeks probably, because that's where the need is. There are lots of things that, yes, are on my desk to be worked on. If you're a voter, I encourage you to go vote. But that's all sort of secondary. Again, we have sisters and brothers who are not going to be able to buy groceries starting today. So let's make that not happen through whatever means necessary. So thank you all for your time and indulging me in those comments. That's not what I intended to talk to you all about several days ago, but this is the right room to talk about it. So please tell everyone in your personal network, and I will tell everyone in my personal network about you all gathering to do the important work that you are moving forward with. Thank you once again for the invitation.
Good morning. It's truly an honor to be here and to speak with you folks this morning. So thank you so much. Just to give you a little bit of background, you've probably never seen one of me before, but I am a 6th generation Alachua County resident. It does go that far back that we can actually trace, and I was born just a few blocks from here at Alachua General Hospital. During the civil rights movement in the 70s, my grandmother and grandfather were the ministers of music at the Gainesville Baptist Church across the street down here just a little ways, and they had a choir of over 200 people. They ran that program for 25 years. Many generations before that, they were evangelicals. So caring about the spiritual health of people in this community is something that is very deeply ingrained in me. And I'm here today because I believe in you. I have worked very hard to try and activate the community that I was born and raised in, which was Christian, and I just wasn't able to do it. They are very participatory in community building efforts within their own groups, but when it comes to helping the poor, we're really struggling with that here in Alachua County. We have about 85% of our food banks are run by Christian organizations, but because they refuse to collaborate or work together, we're really losing the maximum effect that we could have there. In my work with Dr. Shakur, what we've been doing is going to the public housing communities. And when we first started showing up, it was because we were there in reaction to the gun violence crisis that we're having here in Alachua County. And so we go in and we say, all right, gun violence affects young Black males between the ages of 15 and 24. What do you guys have for them? And they had nothing. They had no programming for them at all, not even a pizza party. So Dr. Shakur would go in once a week and do exercises with them, and it was a truly beautiful and miraculous thing to behold. The faces of these young people changed, and they changed over the weeks and the continued participation with them. So I came to understand that this is what my community needs. It needs Buddhist practices. We are not going to get where we need to go doing things the way that we have always done them. And so I have a tremendous gratitude to you for coming here and for wanting to expand what you're doing here and to create something that can draw people from all around the world. Growing up here, we have a very large Hare Krishna population. I don't know if you guys are aware, but it's actually the capital of the Krishna community in the Western Hemisphere. So the other one is in India. The other group that we have that's coming hard into Alachua County is the Catholic community. So on Main Street, they're going to be building a full-out monastery. So the St. Augustine arm is going to be moving several of their assets into Gainesville. So, and then we have the First Baptist Church is very, very strong in Alachua because their home base is in Jacksonville. So the component of a non-theistic belief system focused on truly elevating the person is missing. And I cannot tell you the void that it is leaving in not just our community here in Gainesville, but in the greater capacity of not just Alachua County, but the country. So growing up here and seeing what I feel we can call is a crisis of compassion happening within my culture, I believe that what you're doing here is our salvation. And I think that it's absolutely critical that we continue to focus on expanding the Buddhist community here, and that we do that through the dirt as well. Because if we don't have a place for people to come, and if we don't have control of the land, then you don't have control. You just don't. And I can tell you that because in trying to go around through the community and find places where we could empower the African American community, there were nearly none. And as a real estate professional, I can't tell you how heartbreaking that is, to see that in my community, I could not find people to dedicate their space to the empowerment of people. So I just want to tell you that I deeply appreciate what you're doing. I'm deeply committed to helping you move forward the amazing and beautiful knowledge that you bring to this community. I'm committed to helping bring that message to more students at the University of Florida through their housing communities, because the crisis that we're seeing with this lack of compassion is affecting them from a mental health perspective as well. And so bringing your Buddhist practices to the greater Gainesville community, I think it could not be at a more critical time. And I think that the seeds that you are planting now in this community here in Alachua County are going to save this country. And I believe that because universities are in the people printing business. That's what they do. They make people. And this university is one of the most preeminent in the world. It actually has the fastest computer of any university-owned computer in the country. So the computers that we have on campus at the University of Florida are faster than anything at MIT or Harvard, Princeton, or any other fancy schools that I can think of. But it's not just one of the fastest computers it is not just the fastest university-owned computer. It's the third fastest in the country. The third fastest computer in the entire country is right here, just down the street. The world knows how important Gainesville is and how important the people of Gainesville are. And I am so grateful to you because as far as I can tell, you're the only people out there that truly care about the spark on the inside. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for sharing the knowledge that you have. It could not be more appreciated by those of us who are here and have been starving for the compassion that you bring. Thank you.
I want you all to know that I spent a lot of hours producing a financial report for all of you, and had this idea that I was going to read it for you and discuss all the numbers and take questions and this, that, and the other. And I have completely changed plans. You have the report that I prepared. You are free to read it at your own leisure. But I'm not going to do what I was planning to do. I have been hit here this morning with a lot of what our distinguished body here of speakers have said. And my mind has just exploded and my heart has exploded with all kinds of things just sitting and listening. And there's two things that pop up in my mind. What Jamie said about a certain institution right here in town that is people printing. I am a product of that. People printing. I was just talking to Susan and telling her how I had to bail out basically of that people printing business because I'm an engineer and that's my profession. And I'm basically walking around with the left side of my brain is like very heavy. And I had to bail out and try to balance out, with the right. And that's kind of why I am here. And I am seeking what Miss Aya said this morning about an alternative culture. And, I'm Christian, and yet I am here. I asked Lama Losan, I am a Christian. I want to set the record straight. I'm a Christian, and I don't want to, deviate to Buddhism too much. And he said, you can be both. And I kind of knew that already, but I wanted to make sure that I was gonna be well received in the Buddhist community as a Christian. And so I'm happy to be here, but also the idea of presenting an alternative culture to other people, it excites me. one of the things when I was in my Christian world that I really didn't square away very well with me was the religiosity of the whole thing, the ritual of the whole thing. And it is good to know, and that's why I'm in this project, it is good to know that there is an alternative culture where you can be true to the spirit of what it truly means to serve others and to present something to others so that they can be helped. And this is what the mission and the vision that I have for SEBRC. And so I am happy to be in this starship with you, Lamalosan, Chief Engineer. And no, please don't get me in that role again. And I have to say this: as much as I hate, and I really say this with all my heart, I just met you a few months ago. As much as I hate Catherine uh, uh, leaving and retiring, I love that my brother Shakur, my brother from another mother, is going to take on the helm. And we've known each other for a long time, and I know where he's heading. And that is why we are together. But anyway, more specifically, talking about financial report, there's really not much to say other than when we first started in 2024, we were very young. We started in 2024, and all of these people already had a mindset of a mission and a vision, and they had people that had money that contributed to make this happen. So we received a bunch of money all at one time, and then we started marketing last year, and we started putting the structure together. I think we've done a great job in 1 year doing that. We had some people that helped us get there. Another person that is leaving is Daniel from IT. He's done a lot of work, and Matthew has done a lot of work putting IT together. And so a lot of the structure has been already being propped up. And now in 2025, we've done a lot more of that. We've created some programs. I'll be happy to fill some of the blank spots that are programs, offering programs. I'll be happy to fill those spots in the report next year. But as of right now, we've just been getting to go. It's like a locomotive trying to start running. And so you'll see that we had a lot of money coming in 2024, didn't do too many things. But now we've done a lot of promotion, and we spent money. So you'll see, I was wondering, should I do this thing in color, because there's going to be a lot of red. So a lot of, and sitting there, I'm going like, I was so worried and so busy producing this, and this is not what it's about. I used some AI to produce this stuff, and we got to be careful, because the world out here will dazzle you with a lot of information and a lot of things, and that is not where it's at. Where it's at is here, trying to produce something that will touch the heart and that will change our minds, change our vision, and I think that that's why we're here, and that's what it's all about.
Good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be here and to be here with all of you, connected to the wonderful vision of what will happen in the future, I hope, with the Southeast Buddhist Retreat Center. So I wanted to start my talk with a poem by Maya Angelou. So I'm going to read that to you from her book, and it's called A Brave and Startling Truth. So you could just sit back and enjoy this poem. We, this people, on a small and lonely planet, traveling through casual space, past aloof stars, across the way of indifferent suns, to a destination where all signs tell us it is possible and imperative that we learn a brave and startling truth. And when we come to it, to the day of peacemaking, when we release our fingers from fists of hostility and allow the pure air to cool our palms, when we come to it, when the curtain falls on the minstrel show of hate, and faces sooted with scorn are scrubbed clean, when battlefields and coliseum no longer rake our unique and particular sons and daughters up with the bruised and bloody grass to lie in identical plots in foreign soil, when the rapacious storming of the churches, the screaming racket in the temples have ceased, when the pennants are waving gaily, when the banners of the world tremble stoutly in the good, clean breeze. When we come to it, when we let the rifles fall from our shoulders and children dress their dolls in flags of truce, when landmines of death have been removed and the aged can walk into evenings of peace, when religious ritual is not perfumed by the incense of burning flesh, and childhood dreams are not kicked awake by nightmares of abuse. When we come to it, then we will confess that not the pyramids with their stones set in mysterious perfection, nor the gardens of Babylon hanging as eternal beauty in our collective memory, not the Grand Canyon kindled into delicious color by Western sunsets, nor the Danube flowing its blue soul into Europe, not the sacred peak of Mount Fuji stretching to the rising sun, neither Father Amazon nor Mother Mississippi, who without favor nurture all creatures in the depths and on the shores. These are not the only wonders of the world. When we come to it, we, this people on this minuscule and kithless globe, who reach daily for the bomb, the blade, and the dagger, yet who petition in the dark for tokens of peace. We, this people on this mote of matter, in whose mouths abide cankerous words which challenge our very existence, yet out of those same mouths come songs of such exquisite sweetness that the heart falters in its labor and the body is quivered into awe. We, this people on this small and drifting planet, whose hands can strike with such abandon that in a twinkling life is sapped from the living. Yet those same hands can touch with such healing, irresistible tenderness, that the haughty neck is happy to bow, and the proud back is glad to bend out of such chaos, of such contradiction. We learn that we are neither devils nor divines. When we come to it, we, this people on this wayward floating body, created on this earth, of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely without sanctimonious piety, without crippling fear. When we come to it, we must confess that we are the possible. We are the miraculous, the true wonder of this world. That is when, and only when, we come to it. So I wanted to say that Shakur asked me to speak about community. So I wanted to open with that reading that really talks about the value of community. And if you then bear with me, I'd like to share a bit about my own journey of what community has meant in my own life and how I have imagined it unfolding for us here in Gainesville and beyond. So for me, I'd start with the year 1970 when I came to the University of Florida as a freshman. It was a really powerful time to be part of a student community. The campus was filled with young people united in a strong belief that we could change the world. Yes, it was idealistic and maybe even naive, but it carried truth and energy. One of the first demonstrations I joined was at Tigert Hall, where we protested the very small number of people of color enrolled at UF. This was before affirmative action existed. It ended when the tear gas was used. Nonetheless, it made a difference. And this helped me develop a strong sense of what it feels like to be part of an empowered community, a community with faith that the power we have together can and will create good, positive change. We were a community that trusted one another, that all stuck together. Our unity and our vision, I think, was beautifully captured by John Lennon in his song Imagine. We truly believed, in his words, that the world could live as one. And for a time, we did live that way, in spirit, in hope, and in community. But time passed. We graduated. Life pulled us in many directions. The dream of a united, peaceful world softened under the weight of careers, families, and the search for security. I remember the quiet ache of watching that collective vision fade. The dream that all nations and peoples could live together in peace, that we could end war, hunger, and poverty, and return to harmony with the earth. That yearning for a spiritually awakened, compassionate humanity never left me. It led me into practice, study, and service. My own spiritual path began with Taoism and 7 years of study with a Chinese Tai Chi master. Then at the turn of the century, I found my home in Buddhism. It began with a visit from Saki Santorelli from the Center of Mindfulness in Worcester, Mass. And I felt that unmistakable sense of belonging, of having found the club I really want to join. So at that time, I held a part-time practice as a mental health counselor and was an artist in residence with UF Health's Arts and Medicine program, as a drummer with, believe it or not, the Recycled Trash Queens, and a singer. And as my Vipassana meditation practice deepened, I began developing contemplative arts programs as part of the Arts and Medicine program, starting with what most everyone wanted, massage. And after a time, we added yoga, meditation, and qigong for patients, parents, nurses, doctors, staff. Eventually, I was asked to teach mindfulness-based stress reduction to medical staff and students, a journey that continued for over a dozen years. Those teachings on mindfulness and medicine to the med students remain among my most treasured experiences. And for 10 years, starting with a journey to Rwanda with arts and medicine, I founded and directed a nonprofit there called Rwanda Sustainable Families, supporting the impoverished Batwa people of Rubavu, Rwanda. These indigenous families had long suffered deep discrimination, even within their own country. Working with them taught me again and again that community begins when we see one another as fully human, not as the other, but as reflections of the same heart. Compassion is not charity, it's kinship. So during my final years teaching MBSR, I began using the small cottage on our property as a sacred space for day-long mindfulness retreats. Soon revealed itself as more than a building, became a refuge. That little space became what we now call Karuna Cottage, an urban forest sanctuary for meditation and movement practice. Though now I'm mostly retired, I continue to teach weekly mindfulness sessions online through the Arts of Medicine program. 222 people are on the email list they've asked to join, yet only about 15 regularly attend. Now that too tells us a story about our human longing for peace and the many distractions that pull us from it. Those who do come week after week have formed a small but steady community. They text and email and care for one another. In their presence, I see how community begins, not with numbers, but with connection. So after stepping away from MBSR, I really long to continue sharing the Dhamma that I had continued to study and practice. So I invited others, teachers and students, to form a Vipassana Sangha. And to my delight, I met a fully ordained Thai forest bhikkhuni named Aya Marajina, who is here today and will speak to you next. She became my teacher and my friend, a true Kalyanamita, a spiritual companion on the path. The Buddha himself said that spiritual friendship is not half the holy life, it is the whole of it. And if you look around, there are many Kalyanamitas here among us. Our Gainesville Sanghas, representing different Buddhist traditions, have long practiced in their own spaces. But something beautiful happened when we all came together at the Harn Museum one week in the spring of 2024. We were there for the Tibetan Sacred Art exhibit. We watched the monks, including our own Lama Losang, create a sand mandala. Families were invited to create their own small sand mandalas. We chanted together, and for a brief time, we were together as Buddhists and spiritual friends. It was a glimpse of something larger, the possibility of a united Buddhist community. That seed of connection quickly sprouted. In April of 2024, with the support of Lama Losang, and especially Shakur, I reached out to him, both of them visionaries. We gathered Sangha leaders from across Gainesville. And by June, we held our first community sit under the great live oak at the Thomas Center. We've been meeting there every month since, sharing silence, sharing presence and nature, and sharing Dhamma, opening our chitta, our heart minds. And as Maya Angelou said, we are the possible. About 30 to 50 people now come regularly. So this experience of community, our inter-sangha, inter-tradition, and our broader spiritual community is the fertile soil for powerful and expansive vision, the Southeast Buddhist Retreat Center. This vision, held for years by Lama Losang and members of KTC, is truly blossoming. It will be a sacred space where monastics and lay teachers from many traditions of many kinds can offer teachings, where all who seek peace can find refuge, renewal, and belonging. Lama Losang will speak to you about this powerful vision in just a little while. So here we are, at the threshold of a new vision together. As we nurture SEBRC into being, may we remember that community is both the path to and the fruit of practice. It is the living field where compassion ripens, where generosity finds expression, where peace takes root. May we continue to show up with our hearts, our hands, our faith, I guess our pocketbooks too, and our faith in one another. And may the light of our collective practice illuminate the way for others. So thank you for listening.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and It's an amazing project that that is being worked on by probably a handful of people, as it usually the case. So I would like to really say Anumodana. I rejoicing in this project, in the energy, and welcoming all of you to participate. So I was going to speak on freedom, on right freedom. You've all heard, I imagine, you're all Buddhists, practicing Buddhists here. So the Noble Eightfold Path is a centerpiece for our practice. But have you heard of the Noble Tenfold Path? No? Oh, good, because then perhaps I have your attention. And it's through attention, through listening, that we progress on this path. Actually, through listening, one can attain Sotapanna, which is the first stage of awakening, where we drop our view of a separate identity, our identity view. It's dropped. Of course, you've attained something, so doubt is gone. And then you know what the work has been. So your thoughts of ritualizing the precepts is also gone. So that's the first one. And all it takes is listening. So back to the Noble Tenfold Path. It is the same as the Noble Eightfold Path, but it makes two distinctions apparent that are underlying, that are taken as implicit in the Noble Eightfold Path, which is, of course, right view. So right view is when we start practicing just understanding cause and effect. That's it, cause and effect. Once you understand cause and effect, even on a cursory level, that leads to right intention. We know that harming, causing harm, has an effect. It may have an effect on another being, animal, human, insect, but it also has an effect on us. The Buddha said it was like holding a red hot coal, that you're so angry that you want to fling it at someone. But who gets hurt first holding that red hot coal? The one holding it. So right intention is that we understand cause and effect so that we cause no harm. We have goodwill. And we begin to let go of things, renunciation. We begin to let go of things. And what do we immediately let go of? All the unskillful actions, little by little, because they're very embedded. We let go of lying and harsh speech, which harms. We let go of certain actions like sexual misconduct and stealing. And we live in a way that maintains our precepts, maintains. This is, we hear Buddhism a lot, but actually what the Buddha taught wasn't Buddhism. It was Dhamma or Dharma, the teachings, and Vinaya, the discipline. Dhamma Vinaya. It's not just about the teachings and readings and listening. It's also about embodying the teachings. And so the other factor, in the division of concentration is right effort, which we do constantly. I mean, this is not a separate part here. This is constantly. We're constantly watching our mind, watching our actions, watching the actions of others to learn, and trying to do away with that harm unskillful actions, and at the same time trying to cultivate skillful actions that help us progress. Because that's the only thing that we have to do, is let go of unskillful and cultivate skillful on that path. Sati, right mindfulness, it's called mindfulness. It's actually like a presence, like an awareness that you are present. You know what you're doing. You're alert to that. It's not relaxing. It's not a relaxing thing. But it's not like a caffeinated alertness either. And you know it when you're in it. That leads to samadhi, the right unification of mind. This is what we're all trying to do on the cushion, this elusive unification of mind. So those are the 8, but there's 2 more implicit here, because samadhi is taking you back to right view. But right view, remember, we started with cause and effect, but it becomes right view of the Four Noble Truths. And at that moment, it becomes the Aryan path. And I'm very sorry that that word has a history that is very regrettable and horrific. But it just means noble. But the 2 steps that are not there is samajnana. Jnana means knowledge, right knowledge, which is what all that work takes you to. Real understanding of our reality. And once we have right knowledge, then right freedom. Sama vimutti. And that changes everything. Then, of course, we start all over again. The Noble Eightfold Path has actually 4, I don't know what the word is, versions. The first one is where we begin, but then the other 3, we're already noble ones. And I want to deviate here because it's this right freedom that I really, really wanted to talk about. Because we're listening to a lot of free speech lately in our culture. We're listening to a lot of freedoms in our culture. But freedom, remember, not just the concept, but the discipline that comes with that. Without the discipline, it's just a whole bunch of garbage. Free speech isn't just about saying whatever's on your mind. Free speech comes with responsibility. Really, free speech is an immensely responsible act. It's truthful. It's timely. Because sometimes we know the truth, but it's really the wrong time. And what's the wrong time? When we're angry. It's the wrong time to be truthful. Or when the other person is angry and can't listen. And is it beneficial? If it's not beneficial, what's the point? Why bring it up at all if it's not going to be beneficial? Hey, you remember 10 years ago when you did this? That was very wrong. You were unless there is a point to it in the present, that it's timely, then let it go. And this is right freedom, which is of 2 kinds. There is samavimutti. It's that liberation of the Buddha's path, of that teaching. It's liberation, liberating insight. But there's also the right freedom that comes through practice. With all these 8 components that we just listened to, just practicing those, keeping precepts, being a moral, responsible individual, non-harming, bringing up skillful mental activity when we're irritated or depressed or sad. These are responsibilities. This, before you become a Sotapanna, this changes you. It's just that habitual abandoning of unskillful thoughts that will change you. And you know what? It changes people around you without doing anything, without the placards, without the marches, without the protests, without the letter writing. Once we begin to embody everything that we believe in, that we say we believe in, that changes us. And that changes those around us. We see that somewhere. I see visualize inner peace. Yeah, right on. It's here. And it's not so easy. And you should know that, right? I mean, you sit down in the cushion, there is instant awakening there in the cushion. You sit down, you've organized your life, you lost the majority of your old friends because you've dedicated time to meditation. You stopped intoxicating things. You've stopped all the partying. You sit down regular time every evening or every morning, and no awakening yet, right? Not yet. Well, that's because it doesn't mean that there isn't a progression toward awakening, right? This is a practice, and all you got to do is practice. It's why it's called practice. Is you're practicing. Just that begins that change. Keeping to that schedule. And you know how hard it is, which is why I celebrate this project, the Southeastern Buddhist Retreat Center. Like Nancy was saying a little while ago, community. This feeds these right intentions. This feeds our practice. This improves our world, little bits. And so that's a freedom. That's a right freedom. And it comes before that other freedom that we aspire to. That freedom of losing this burden of a sense of self, of our likes and our dislikes, our wants and our not wants. Oh my gosh, it's like carrying around a sack of rocks. Totally useless, 50-pound sack of rocks over your shoulder wherever you go. That's pointless. But until we start to feel that, we don't even know we're carrying around a 50-pound bag of rocks. We don't know. There's this, you've probably seen it, on I-75 as you're leaving Gainesville, you've been hemmed in. Trees and towns and everything on I-75, right and left, even if it's like a divided highway. There's trees, there's buildings, and then suddenly you hit the Payne's Prairie. And what happens? Open space. And you feel it. And this is not as wonderful as the freedom that comes from practice. That's right freedom, with the responsibility for all beings, all of them, all the little creatures too. There's this sense of real community in right freedom. It's not that, suddenly like you remember, most of us remember maybe when we turned 18, I think now it's like 21. It should be like 30 or 35 or 40 or 50. I'm 61. I'm still, it's not quite. I don't think it really exists out there. It really exists in here. But we remember that, suddenly it's like, I can do whatever I want. That's not right freedom. That's what gets us into these situations that we're in right now. Doing whatever we want because we can do it. It comes with a responsibility, and that responsibility is practice. Just the practice. That's it. I mean, the Buddha wasn't talking about all of these other things. He'd give one teaching and then go, hey, there's some roots of trees over there. There's an empty hut over there. Go practice, or you'll regret it later. And so the ones that were able to do that reach these distinctions, these high, noble distinctions. It's not a mythology. And you're all practicing Buddhists. You should know this is not myth. This is not some other, oh gosh, there she is talking about all that stuff again, it's real. And there is that right freedom as the noble tenfold path. And it has fruit before you ever reach that stream of Sotapanna, which is the stream winner, right? We're all familiar with that. The stream winner, the one that cuts off identity view. Before you even reach that, there is another freedom, is that we can live in this world as a counter-cultural revolutionary and be free with our responsibilities, with our responsibility toward ourselves and to others. And that brings us peace. It's a peace that you can't buy. It's not on Amazon, it's not on TikTok, and it lasts for as long as you practice. And then that leads you to want more, to incorporate more, to embody more of this teaching. And that leads to the noble right freedom. So don't forget when you're practicing the Noble Eightfold Path that there are two other factors, unspoken, but the Buddha talked about them. They're in the Nikayas. I think the Majjhima Nikaya and the Anguttara Nikaya, they're there. Sama Samadhi leads to Samajnana, leads to Sama Vimutti. And all this time, you're building a peaceful state of mind. Where community comes in is to keep going. Because when we're by ourselves, we can quit. Our minds are just used to instant gratification. We sit down, we want the fruit right now. We want samadhi right now. And when it doesn't happen right now, because these things are very, very deeply rooted, anusaya, latent tendencies. We don't even know what they are when we begin to practice. We think the problem is everybody else. And then we start to see things we don't like. I see this a lot with my students. They fight me. Oh no, I'm not like that. No, I'm not like that. And then I just leave them alone. And they will, if they're practicing correctly, they will return, sometimes in tears. I didn't think I was like that. Of course, we're all like that. But we don't have to stay like that. So rather than getting frustrated, depressed, angry, you return to re-nourish your practice with community, right community. And that's what's happening here. And so I celebrate that with you. I encourage you to keep going before that light emerges, and it will emerge. There's a lot of darkness. And you know what the Buddha said? It's okay, don't worry about it. Leave it alone. Keep going. Keep going. Individually and collectively. Let's keep going. That's the only salvation. That's the only right freedom. Thank you. I mean, I don't think anybody fell asleep. no snoring at all. I appreciate this. I appreciate all of you. And I wish you the best. I wish you well-being. And you know what well-being is in the Noble One's discipline? Nibbana. True well-being, true wellness.
I want to welcome all of you for taking the time out of our busy schedules to be here, and certainly to have the privilege of having our distinguished speakers as well, and Mayor Ward. So I'm going to start with just a little prayer. You know, we're talking about community, and I think that's the essence of our view and our mission. So to begin, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, our teachers, we invite your presence and blessings as we gather. May we open our hearts with love and compassion and deepen our understanding and dedicate the merit of our coming together, our gathering, to the health and happiness of all beings, as we've heard over and over again. And may wisdom and kindness guide our words and actions, and may all be auspicious for us in our endeavor to create this safe haven for us now and well into the future. So we'll hold that thought and create that reality. So I want to present a vision of a training, a retreat center that includes mindfulness programs, meditation retreats, holistic healing, to empower individuals and consequently communities. And we have heard how special Gainesville is, which I think we can all agree. This has a very special energy, a potency. And we are going to create a little stir here, I think, with what we're doing. So our mission is to promote peace, compassion, well-being to those we've heard, who are suffering from anxiety, stress, poverty, insecurity in today's ever-changing, fast-paced world. And we heard from Mayor Ward, and we know that this situation, this food crisis that is occurring, and as long as the situation with our government goes on, this is only going to increase. So our mission would, of course, be to benefit those beings. Food is pretty basic to our security. Having a roof over our head is pretty important to our well-being. So I think those of us here can agree that this is a meaningful endeavor and create a much needed medicine in the lives of many. The word meditation and medicine come from the same root word, madiri, and it means to heal or to make whole. So maybe what we need more than other kinds of medicine is meditation, to create the balance and stability, to tame our minds, and to be able to think and to act in compassionate ways, which is our nature. That is our Buddha nature, loving kindness and compassion, but we have obscured this a little bit. We often use the example like clouds obstructing the sun. The sun hasn't gone away, but we may not see it clearly because of the obscuration. And our own habits, our habitual tendencies tend to create that same clouds that obscure our Buddha nature. So what we hope to create is a place, a lighthouse, where people can come together and train. The essence of the Buddhist teaching is to cultivate virtue, to avoid wrongdoing, and most importantly, to tame our minds. So this is the essence. I mean, if we were to say it in a nutshell, this is what we're doing. And it takes a lot of different forms. Healing takes a lot of different forms. And the Buddha himself taught 84,000 different ways to appeal to all the different mind streams and all the different ways that we view the world. None of us see it the same. You're not seeing me the same way. Each of you have a particular kind of influence and are hearing things and seeing things and feeling things that are very specific to you. So I also have an analogy to make. Those of you who know me know I have a fascination with Star Trek. And yes, so I'm going to make the analogy. For those of you who know me, you know I'm a fan, and you may know where I'm going with this. In an alternative universe, I'm the captain of a starship. This endeavor that we're creating is not unlike that. And I think we can make this analogy to a certain kind of way. And I invite you to consider, becoming part of our crew. But in that spirit, I stand before you as the first captain of our ship and was entrusted with guiding us forward. So I am reminded again of Captain Picard and the crew of the Enterprise who set out to explore, to explore strange and new worlds, seek out new life and new civilizations, and boldly go where no one has gone before. Yes, I see you people mouthing the words, so I see them in good company. So in that spirit, as the first captain of this starship entrusted with guiding us forward, but no captain navigates the universe alone. And so the officers of our board of directors are the seasoned bridge crew, and helping to chart the course, solve the problems, keep us on course to the true mission. And I passed that responsibility on to Catherine, who did such a remarkable job. And now we're at another transition point, creating a new energy. And Shakur is going to be taking the helm, and under the tutelage of Catherine, is ready to do so. So as we set our course for the vast uncharted territories ahead and support each other and embodying the values of Dharma and discovering the new forms of community, which we will continue to evolve as we continue, and helping all beings awaken. That's the goal. That's the mission. So, are you ready? So now Catherine's retiring, and as I say, guiding Shakur, her second in command at this point, to continue our journey. And Shakur is well trained and will take the helm in the new year. So imagine a place where those who are coping with stress and anxiety and uncertainty can find a sanctuary, can find peace of mind, and can work with other like-minded individuals. We're talking about community. You may be familiar with the term Sangha that we heard earlier. So Sangha is community. And when we take refuge in the Buddha, the teacher of this fortunate eon, and the Dharma, the teachings, and the Sangha is one of the three jewels. So we take our refuge in the Buddha, in his teaching, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is no longer here, but we have teachers in our lineages who continue to teach in an unbroken lineage. So we have the good fortune of being part of that lineage. That's why in the beginning we said the prayers, to the Buddha, the Bodhisattvas, and our blessed teachers. without whom we couldn't really attain perfect enlightenment. So these are the essential jewels that really grant fearlessness, it is said. When you take refuge, it grants fearlessness. There's nothing for us to be afraid of. We chart our course, and we act with faith, and we act with wisdom, and we act with compassion, loving kindness. I think what Mayor Harvey was saying, he was looking for a word. It was interdependence. We are interdependent on one another. So we can transform the world. It takes courage. It takes discipline. It takes motivation. But this, when we look at what the Buddha taught, this precious human birth is only precious if we use it. And we have the opportunity to do something special. So I invite you to become a part of this journey. And whether through a generous donation, volunteering, spreading the word, you can help create a sanctuary that transforms lives. And so I invite you to build this together and to have a lasting impact, certainly in our community, but because of interdependence, it is the world. So welcome aboard. On we go. Join us for the journey. I do have one more thing to say, though. I was told last night, I have permission to say that we have an anonymous donor who has donated $100,000. Yes, let's clap for that. We have someone who is going to help bring us a little closer to the goal. But I invite all of you, please, to be a part of it, to talk to your friends and neighbors about it, and let's build it. Thank you.